You know you clicked on Failurist, right? Look, I get it. It's kind of like a car crash that you just can't help but open the link. You've been doom scrolling for the last 15 minutes and then this random failure sort of video comes up and you're like, what in the hell is this? Um, and you're probably thinking to yourself at this juncture, who would be crazy enough to create a channel, a website, a business all about failure? So, welcome. My name is Marc Stanislas. I am the Chief Failure Officer of Failurist. But before I talk about what Failurist is all about, I need to tell you about who the Failurist is. So I am 48 years of age. I have four wonderful kids and one amazing grandchild. And because of that, you know that the jokes I'll attempt to tell you will not be dad jokes. They're going to be so random that only I'll find them funny. Um, yeah, so I'm an average guy. I have an average job, but I have one hell of a story to tell, and that story is based on failure. You name an area of life, and I have failed big time within it. Relationships, health, business, jobs. Uh, yeah, I've basically had big fails to the extent where I was in my mid 40s and I was living in my parents' garage. And that's the thing about failure as well. And especially when you fail big, it feels like the world is coming down upon your head. Um, but you end up still breathing the same air as everybody else. You still have people that are on your side and care for you, and you end up working out that it is just an event, and you're going to be okay. I mean, as bad as it is in the moment, you actually will be okay. And sometimes the only inspiration is the air that you take into your lungs, but you're still taking in air, which means that you're all right. You're healthy, or you may have health concerns, but you're going to be okay. Um, and I think at that juncture, I just realized that with all the sort of failure events that I've been on, is that I'm an expert in failure. So I may as well create a company called Failurist. And that's what I did. So, yeah, welcome to the channel. So now, the what? Failurist is primarily a website, company, channel, community that is dedicated to failure. It sounds demented. In the research that I've done, there is nothing else like this out there. And there's probably a really good reason for it. So what I plead now is I'm just pleading my case. And it might sound more demented, but please just hear me out. Um, it's about unpacking failure to its very element. And in essence, what failure is, it's an event. It's the same as success. It's an event. Um, but it feels terrible when you get things, when you fail, in essence. But as much as it feels bad, you get lessons from it, life lessons. And the more that you fail, it actually is the more that you're resilient to failure. And that's the thing. By learning those lessons and going back again, picking yourself up off the canvas, you end up, it ends up being a precursor to success. Anybody that's successful will tell you that there was, the path was strewn with failures, but what they didn't let it do is let it define them. And that's them. And this is me. And I can tell you, I let failure define me. So I'm going to give you an example of how I did that as well. Is that, you know, um, 10 years ago, I think I ended up getting a manager's position, big promotion for me. And I was really, happy that I could have manager as my title. LinkedIn was fantastic, blah, blah, blah. Um, but at that stage, as life often happens, my marriage was in the toilet, and you know, I was really struggling with health, with finances, and yeah, I didn't. Do you think I celebrated the promotion? I can tell you, I drank a lot, but at the end of the day, whilst the LinkedIn title said, Marc Stanislas manager, the mirror said Marc Stanislas failure, and that's the title, and that's the life that I'd given myself, and I gave it to myself for about 10 years. Um, but the reality is that the more you go on and the more you fail, you understand failure is not a lifestyle. It's not a person. It's just an event. And that's what Failurist is. It's about unpacking these stories that I'm going to give you as the chief failure officer. So I've got many stories to tell. But what the failure was, how much it hurt, what I learnt from it, and how I bounced back, and that's what I wanted to do. And just talking about that, this is not the first What is Failurist video. This is the third. And the other two were very, well, I wouldn't say polished. They were very vanilla. It was about the research, about, got to give them a hook and call to action and say this then and blah, blah, blah. And it was very bland. It wasn't me. I'm kooky. I'm granddad jokes. Remember, that's the level. Granddad jokes. So that's what I wanted to do, is just redo it in my voice, in my way. And, if that one mate that I always make watch this video watches it, well, at least it's my way. And that's how I became the Chief Failure Officer. Let me put the title up again. Yep, there we go. All right. And the funny thing about failure is that that's what it does, is if you let it, it will go first in line, and it will keep feeding because it's very hungry. And the more you give it, the more it'll eat, and you'll get bigger as well, because when that happens, food just gets tastier. And, so that's the what. It's about, unpacking stories through this channel. It's about, being providing articles on the website, and it's about having discussions through Instagram, because that's what it is. It's about people that sort of can understand that, and they're going through similar sorts of challenges or are still within that, and let's have a conversation. Let's start a sort of real discussion about failure. So now the how. How will Failurist exist? Well, got the website, and basically for people that need support, they can make a booking there to have a one-on-one conversation. And the funny thing is that I've had conversations with a lot of successful people that they've got the house, they've got the life, they've got the toys, but they don't have the mirror. And it's about having those real conversations where you'll want to sort of divest what your events are, or maybe you just want to hear more of what I've got to say on failure and how it affects it, or maybe it's just that conversation that takes place. So you can book through the website, but it's also about providing resources to unpack, understand, and take lessons from failure. So I've got resources available through the website, as well as a lot of sort of articles and case studies on different types of failure. And, through Instagram as well, releasing reels, and just raising questions and providing sort of inspirational quotes on, what failure is about and why it's sort of a precursor to success. So yeah, and it's trade proposition time. So I have a trade proposition for you, and you can find that in the link below. We can find that on the website as well. And what I've done is I've created a series of tools. So one is called Everyday Fail, which you can use like for those everyday type failures to just basically unpack it and get the lessons from it. And also the Big Fail Journal, which is for those failures such as marriage breakdowns, or you've lost the job, or you've failed at a business, and just taking you through those steps of that sort of unpacking, understanding, lessons, and bouncing back. So that's the bounce back bundle, as well as access to the Failurist list. So it won't cost anything, but the trade is outlined below. So just click on the link and it'll take you to the Trade Central. If you've enjoyed this video and you throw a like, I'm not going to lie, it will give my ego and my vanity a big boost. But when it comes to subscribe, I always like that, please like and subscribe. Nah, like, I mean, I've happened to take a look at the upcoming videos. Man, it takes a dark turn. And we're talking about real stuff. So I'd say, yeah, don't subscribe, like try before you buy, for God's sake. Or for Pete's sake, I should say. Yeah. But, I'll talk to AI and see if I could do a chatbot thing, apparently you can boost your numbers like that. But yeah, like would be great, but don't subscribe. Anyway, I wanted to leave you with a quote that I tell myself as a 48-year-old man that has barely any money and is trying to re-enter the property market. It's not impossible, just effing difficult. Divide, then dominate difficult. Look, hope to see you in another video, but if not, look, just take care of yourself and bye for now. Ciao.